When a woman decides to hide betrayal, she doesn't do it carelessly. She does it with precision, emotion, and psychology intertwined. Unlike men, who often get caught through recklessness, women cheat differently. They prepare. They understand human perception better. They know that the key to deception isn't what you hide, it's what you make visible. A cheating woman doesn't just cover her tracks, she builds a believable story around them. She crafts a version of herself so consistent that even suspicion starts to feel unfair. What you're about to hear are the 7 secret tricks women use to cover their affairs. Tactics born from emotional intelligence, routine manipulation, and guilt management. Once you understand these, you'll never see normal behavior the same way again. The first trick is routine reinforcement. When a woman is hiding something, she doesn't suddenly act differently. That would draw attention. Instead, she does the opposite. She becomes more predictable. She follows her daily habits with military precision, making sure every step feels identical to how it's always been. She texts you at the same times, goes to the same places, and keeps the same tone. But this isn't loyalty, it's camouflage. The normality is rehearsed, designed to make you drop your guard. When you start thinking, she's acting completely normal, that's often when the mask is most secure. The second trick is reverse honesty. This is psychological misdirection. She'll tell you small truths to conceal a bigger one. She'll admit to something harmless, maybe texting an old friend or going for a drink after work, because that partial honesty builds trust. In your mind, you'll think, if she was hiding something, she wouldn't tell me this. But that's the brilliance of it. She's giving you fragments of transparency, so you stop searching for the whole picture. Women understand that silence looks suspicious, but selective openness looks innocent. The key to deception isn't lying, it's controlling which truths are told. The third trick is guilt compensation. A woman who's emotionally involved elsewhere often overcompensates in the relationship she's betraying. She becomes more affectionate, more attentive, even unusually romantic. She'll compliment you more, make sudden efforts, or initiate intimacy to reduce her own guilt. You'll think she's reconnecting, but she's really covering the emotional gap. Her affection isn't passion, it's penance. The irony is painful. The moments she seems most loving might actually be the moments she's trying to quiet her conscience. Guilt doesn't always create distance. Sometimes it creates performance. The fourth trick is conflict deflection. When you start to sense something off, she'll shift focus. Maybe you question where she's been, and suddenly you're the problem. She'll accuse you of being controlling, paranoid, or insecure. The goal isn't to win the argument, it's to change the subject. This emotional inversion makes you defend yourself instead of pressing her for answers. It's psychological redirection, and it works because it confuses your moral compass. You go from confronting dishonesty to apologizing for caring. That's how she reclaims control without ever addressing the truth. The fifth trick is alibi layering. A woman who's hiding an affair never relies on a single lie. She builds layers. One truth hides another, and one story protects the next. She'll tell you she's meeting a friend, and she actually does. But that friend's presence is just a cover for a later rendezvous. She might show you real texts, real receipts, or even photos that appear innocent. Yet each detail is crafted to create proof without revealing context. The trick isn't making you believe a story, it's making you believe no story needs questioning. By layering half-truths, she builds an invisible web where even evidence works against your suspicion. The sixth trick is behavioral neutralization. This is where female psychology becomes masterful. Women know that guilt leaks through emotion, tone, eye contact, timing. So she practices neutrality. She'll slow her speech, steady her tone, and answer calmly even when confronted. She knows that panic looks guilty and overconfidence looks defensive. So she finds the perfect middle ground, calm, measured, almost gentle. That balance makes her seem incapable of deceit. What you're seeing isn't calmness, it's control. A woman hiding something will appear composed not because she's innocent, but because she's practiced the emotion of innocence. The seventh and final trick is memory manipulation. This one is psychological artistry. When you question inconsistencies, she doesn't deny them outright. She reframes them. She'll remind you of past times you misread things, subtly planting doubt about your perception. You thought that before and it was nothing, she'll say. She'll use your own history against you, turning every memory into a reference point for your overreaction. Over time, this erodes your confidence in your intuition. You stop trusting what you feel, and she knows that's all she needs. Because the truth doesn't have to disappear, it just has to look unreliable. Dr. Alina Rose explains that these tricks are not random. They are rooted in emotional survival. A cheating woman is at war within herself. Her lies are not only meant to deceive you, they're meant to protect her from the weight of her own guilt. Each tactic is a form of psychological sedation, numbing the conscience so she can keep functioning. But every lie demands energy. The longer she keeps the act alive, the more exhausted she becomes. Eventually, the cracks show, not through what she hides, but through what she repeats too perfectly. Here's the truth that few understand. The more practiced her calmness, the closer she is to breaking. The more she over-explains, the closer she is to being caught. Because real innocence doesn't defend itself. It just exists quietly. A guilty woman explains, reassures, and rationalizes. An honest one simply lives. When her tone shifts from natural to rehearsed, when her eyes avoid connection just slightly longer than before, when her warmth feels mechanical, that's the beginning of truth resurfacing. Dr. Alina Rose teaches that emotional awareness is stronger than any lie. You don't need to spy, track, or chase. You only need to listen. To energy, to silence, to patterns that break their own rhythm. Cheating can disguise itself as consistency, but guilt always moves differently. It can imitate loyalty, but it can't sustain peace. When she starts defending stories that you didn't accuse her of, when her patience becomes scripted, when her affection feels like a performance, understand, she's not protecting you. She's protecting the image of herself that she still wants you to believe in. But truth has endurance, and lies have expiration dates. Eventually, her tricks fail. Not because you expose them, but because she can't live inside them forever. The routine slips, the story contradicts, the silence grows heavier, and one day, her own reflection becomes the confrontation she's been running from. That's when her calm will tremble. That's when her stories will sound hollow. And that's when you'll finally see the truth, not through anger, but through clarity. Dr. Alina Rose always reminds men, never chase lies. Let the truth come through silence. Because no matter how many tricks she uses, no woman can hide what her conscience refuses to carry.